Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us for this joint webinar series between Binghamton University and VIT. We are delighted to welcome you to the 16th seminar as part of this joint seminar series that started in September a few months ago. Dean Vasudevan and I are the co-hosts for the seminar, and we're delighted to have many of you that have been attending our webinar series fairly regularly and continue to share information about this webinar with your colleagues and students. Today, we are delighted to have Dr. K. Raja, who has been with VIT since 1997. He's currently an associate professor in the School of Mechanical Engineering. Dr. Raja earned his PhD in mechanical engineering from VIT, and his PhD research was focused on studies on the surface modifications and improvement of hardness, wear, corrosion resistance, and tensile properties of metallized rapid prototypes made of ABS M30 polymer matrix. His master's degree is from IIT Madras, Chennai, and was focused on biomedical modeling and additive manufacturing of biomedical applications for the Department of Science and Technology for the Government of India. He has also worked on developing a computer-aided manufacturing software for high-speed machining of complex surfaces for ARDP. He has obtained significant amount of funding throughout his career at VIT and was able to establish an industrial product development center using additive manufacturing during 2001 under Technology Business Incubation Center, supported by the Department of Science and Technology from the Government of India. And he has published more than 40 articles in refereed international journals. So Dr. Raja, on behalf of Binghamton University and VIT, I'd like to welcome you to this joint webinar and invite you to give your presentation.
Thank you, Professor Mahbub. Thanks for my brief introduction about me. And I should gratitude to Dr. Vasudevan, who had instrumental in this joint seminar with Binghamton University and VIT. Continuously, he was following with us, giving a lot of support and hope. I should thank Dr. Vasudevan. And here, I'm going to present my research work on improvement of surface integrity on additive manufactured metallic structures as well as polymer structures. Initially in India, additive manufacturing was initiated in polymer, then it has been brought to metallic structures also for the last 3 decades. So in this connection, from 2001, myself and my associate, Dr. C.D. Naiju, he is also from Department of Design and Automation, were jointly associated with these types of improvement activities, particularly on additive manufacturing. We both have an extensive experience on 3D printed DMLS parts as well as fuse deposition modeling, as well as laser fusing, direct metal laser sintering, and SLS parts. Today I'm going to show a brief idea about my research as well as the possible collaborations. The contents of the presentations are introduction, surface integrity on additive manufacturing, both polymer as well as metal, and the finishing and polishing techniques for AM components, and laser shock cleaning, which is the area which we had concentrated for last couple of years. And I'm going to show some of my recent research towards surface integrity. 4 research papers I'm going to show, and then I'm going to conclude my presentation with this. Introduction. The surface can be described in simple terms to be the outmost layer of an entity. Surface integrity is the sum of all elements that describe all conditions existing on the surface of a piece of a finished component. Surface integrity is a relatively new term introduced by Dr. M. Field and Dr. J. Karls of Midfat Research Associates on the effect of grinding on residual stress in metals. During 1964, in a conference, they published this concept of surface integrity. As per Dr. Karl's statement, the enhanced surface condition are properties, materials resulting from controlled manufacturing process. So the surface integrity has two aspects. One is surface topography and surface metallurgy. Surface topography means the top surface of the layer, that is the not the bulk property, whereas surface metallurgy is a bulk property, how it reacts with the various changes and what are the mechanical properties change, what are the subsurface properties change, we are going to see in detail in this presentation. It is the surface integrity is the assessment of impact of manufacturing process on the properties of workpiece material. There are certain data sets are there, standard procedures are there with respect to SI. SI means surface integrity. The minimum SI data set contains the surface finish, microstructure, microcracks, macro crack indications, and plastic deformation in microstructure, phase transformation, and built-up edge formation, and selective etching, and finally microhardness. The standards SI dataset contains the minimum SI dataset, whatever we had seen, surface finish, all those things. Apart from that, fatigue test, stress corrosion cracking, residual stress, and distortion. The extended SI dataset which has to be analyzed under SI is the fatigue test as well as tensile properties, creep, stress fracture, and bearing performance and tribological properties also comes under the SI dataset. So, additive manufacturing technologies are rapidly changing from an exciting way of modeling physical prototypes of a CAD model to an actual manufacturing process for developing product and production tools. This generates an interest among researchers in industry as well as academia to study the accuracy of the reliability of AM production. This is a major issue about reliability. One of the key issues that needs to significant improvement in today AM process is the surface integrity. Additive manufacturing for the last 30 years old method to make parts stacking thin layers raw material like powder is still in evolution. Every year there are some new technologies are coming inside the AM. Among the drawbacks of AM, surface quality is often reported, especially when raw material is a powder form. The roughness RA can be vary between 10 to 20 microns with a peak valley distance, which can reach 0.2 mm depending upon the AM technology. This has an impact on mechanical properties, especially on fatigue and residual stress, because this decides the service life of the product. One of the approaches to attain surface requirement is dedicated post-treatment techniques. In most of the AM process, including fuse deposition modeling, that is in polymer-based 3D printing, the surface quality drastically affected by layer-based manufacturing nature of the process, that is thin layers and thick layers. The functionality of AM parts are highly dependable on the geometric and dimensional accuracy as well as the surface integrity. The weak surface integrity of AM parts has been recognized one of the major concerns in employing these post-treatment technologies in the manufacturing and production systems. Most popular AM technology, FDM, which has undergone significant development over the past decade. However, layer building employed in FDM generates a deleterious rough surface that limits applications. Techniques which has been employed involving optimizing the manufacturing parameters such as melting temperature, build-up direction, layer thickness, all those things helps to optimize these issues. These are some of the pictures that showing the clarity between the surface finish issues on FDM process. You could have been experienced that the feel, if you touch the fabricated part removed immediately from the FDM machine, you can feel the surface finish and even you can see the barely on FDM parts. And this is due to the layering effect, thick layers, thin layers, but still it is an existing area. And these are some of the parts where the surface finish can be seen, that layering effect, and the mechanical methods are used for post-treatment where surface, that is only aesthetic part only has been improved, not the mechanical part. So the surface roughness of AM process, particularly concentrating polymer based in FDM, SLS, SLA, as well as loam polyjetting, The minimum layer thickness has been extensively reduced, but the surface finish issue is still existing, particularly with respect to FDM process because of the layer thickness, that is about RA value between 9 to 40 microns. So where there are various post-processing methods are applied on polymer-based additive manufacturing, like vibratory bowl abrasion in conventional process, hard cutter machining, optical polishing, CNC finishing, deburring, and micro machining process, filling the gaps with epoxy resin, dip coating. In non-conventional process, ultrasonic abrasion, chemical post-processing treatment, electrochemical polishing, electroplating, and laser micro machining. So in this, we had selected, since we had electroplating facility and electrochemical research lab headed by Dr. S. Karthikeyan at School of Advanced Sciences and Chemical Department. So we have taken his help to establish a positive electroplating process for metal polymer-based additive manufacturing. See, this is one more area where the SLS part with the nickel coating finished part look like a metal, feel like a metal, and sounds like a metal. That is, these types of electroplated polymer metallized parts can be used in EMI protection and strength, and as well as cosmetics. In spite of the popularity, and now we are going to deal with surface integrity of metal-based additive manufacturing. In spite of popularity and advantages, application of laser-based powder bed fusion is still limited by some major drawbacks such as low surface quality. Surface integrity of as-built parts has been highlighted as a crucial issue that needs to be improved in additive manufactured parts. During the layer-based manufacturing, a non-solid material phase changes to the continuum solid phase, generating microscale textures that are strongly related to the fabrication of filling patterns, that is hatch patterns in each and every layers. Sorry. The roughness variation in PBF is, that is powder bed fusion, is partially due to the difference in layer thickness and powder grain size from 5 to 20 microns or 20 to 100 microns they had extensively used, but also probably linked to the way that energy is brought to the melt pool. Unfortunately, there are uncertainties linked to the surface quality, like surface crack initiation, defects hidden behind the sticking grains, that is the powder grains, and danger linked to the loose material, that is during the support structures, directly impact the expected mechanical behavior. Need for the appropriate post-treatment to improve as-built surface quality would allow AM to reach better and more reliable mechanical performance, which is strongly required by industry. So these are some of the examples what we had fabricated with laser-based powder bed as well as electron beam powder bed fusion, and you can see that the how the powder material has been cured, and that creates a lot of irregularity on the surface finish. So all these surface finish issues happen because of the surface configurations which occur during the layering process inside the 3D printed area, particularly in metal, affecting the surface quality. Moreover, the layer thickness is set quite small to reduce the too big stargaze effect or test pipe, but the heat source obviously cannot stop providing heat directly penetrating 30 microns below the powder surface, which means that virgin powder grains located just below the currently laser processed area are also affected by heat and partially weld it. This generates a inhomogeneous crust in all the regions that works the surface quality. You have been seen. This is the single layer where the heat is penetrated inside the powder particle because of the inhomogeneous crust has been formed on the outer layer surface. The top surface of the consists of laser or electron beam melt parts, and any spatter that may occur while side surfaces are a result of multiple layers adhering one another during the build process. Surface integrity of AM parts is therefore strongly related to process variables and varies with orientation of the build direction. However, metal PBF surfaces are highly complex and irregular, presenting significant challenges when measuring the optical instruments due to the presence of particles and high slopes and high aspect ratio features and undercuts when we are producing complex surfaces. Measuring and characterizing of AM surface topography is therefore challenging but critical for process optimization, product inspection, and quality control. These are some of the finishing of these polishing and finishing of metallic AM components from the survey we had collected. Laser polishing, chemical polishing, abrasive polishing, mechanical polishing, hybrid polishing methods are there, out of which we had selected a short meaning which has been lessly addressed in the literature. The surface quality of the additive manufactured parts can be affected by different factors from pre-processing, processing in the powder, and post-processing stages. The factors affecting surface quality are due to STL file preparation, material properties, layer thickness, part orientation, scanning parameters, hatch spacing, surface orientation or surface angle, finish type, and post-processing. AM technologies and variation from one machine to another can influence the surface quality. The Stargaze effect, support structure bursts, and errors from deposition process are the most frequent surface defects addressed in the research. So this is about surface modification of metallized polymers, which has been fabricated using a Fortus 900 MC machine. Stratus is built. The material is ABS M30 polymer matrix. For the convenience purpose, we had made the similar test specimen using injection molding also, and we have made a multi-layer electroplated coating, which I am going to discuss in this session. And this was being supported by Dr. S. Karthikeyan from Electrochemical Engineering Research Lab for preparation of electroplating chemical composition, and Dr. P.A. Jiva from Department of Design and Automation also supported me in this chemical composition preparation and further assessments also. So this is the methodology we had adopted. That is, the 3D CAD model has been created using a CATIA software that is for flexural as well as tensile proper specimens, and the specimens were fabricated using FDM machine. Here, one more thing is we have selected a process parameter of negative air gap for high density applications because we want to reduce the porosity as well as increase the hardness of the part. So for that purpose, purposely we have selected negative air gap for fabricating the specimen. The metallization of ABS M30 has been done for both RP and injection molding. We have done electroplated, electroless and electroplating with these three methods. That is, first layer is electroless nickel, and over that electroplated copper, and then third specimen is electroless nickel over electroplated copper over electroplated nickel, again trivalent chromium. And the measurements were taken in terms of hardness, wear resistance, tensile strength, and corrosion resistance. Use a salt spray analysis for corrosion testing, and surface morphological studies were done on XRD, SEM, and XPS. These are the SEM images of the different coating, EPI-SEM images of electroless nickel coated rapid prototype ABS M30. You could have been seen how it has been integrated the coating, and in copper electro-coated, how it has been jointly integrated with ABS M30, and over copper we have done again chromium. The roughness study of the clearly indicates that electro-deposited copper is having low roughness values in comparison with other coatings done on ABS M30 plastics. In case of electroless nickel, the roughness value is higher due to its amorphous nature as per the XRD results. Since the nickel and chromium are harder one, the roughness value justifies the ranking in mechanical properties of coatings developed for the study. The outcome of this research is all the above coatings were found that enhance the corrosion and abrasive wear resistance in the following order. That is, electrodeposited copper is higher than electrodeposited nickel chromium and electrodeposited nickel than uncoated ABS plastics. It feels like a metal, but it's not metal. The reciprocal correlation happened in hardness and abrasion resistance of copper coatings due to the presence of soft copper particles on the coating process. And salt spray results confirm that the multi-layered or three-layered ABS coatings for ABS M30 RP parts found to have good corrosion resistance properties. The tensile strength also increased about 8 to 9 percentile. Electrodeposited copper is higher and nickel chromium is less, and then nickel, and then uncoated. The XRD studies confirm that the presence of metallic faces and lattice planes along the amorphous nature of the electroless nickel coatings, which is further substantiated from the roughness value. The same studies reveal that the surface morphology of the metallized substrates established the existence of metallic layers of coatings through appearance of spherical layered mountainous images. That's what we had seen in this FESEM images, spherical layered mountainous images. XPS studies confirm that the existence of metallic species that are oxidation states on ABS M30 matrix, and atomic absorption spectral results confirm that the weight percentage of the metal presence on the coating. We had made this multi-layered coating up to 300 to 500 microns layer thickness. And now we are moving to laser shock peening, which we addressed for surface integrity of metal-based additive manufacturing. Laser shock peening is a promising surface enhancement method capable of increasing resistance to a component to cracking and fatigue damage by induced deep compressive residual stresses. The process generally employs a high energy density laser beam with slow repetition rate about 1 to 10 Hertz and a transparent medium to restrict plasma expansion and increase shock wave intensity in the material surface. The application of LSP on AM components can address the challenges introduced by AM, such as porosities and tensile residual stress near the surface. The surface of the material can be mechanically pre-stressed beyond yield point by laser peening. Residual stress is induced due to the localized plastic deformation into the surface of material, which is compressive in nature. So the first paper we have initiated a research work on study on effect of laser peening on Inconel 718 produced by direct metal laser sintering technique. And this research has been concluded as follows. Inconel is an austenitic chromium nickel-based superalloy, often used in applications which require high strength and temperature resistance. It can retain its properties at high temperature. An attempt has been made to examine the effect of laser shock peening on Inconel 718 and microstructure shows elliptical shaped structure and formation of new grain boundaries. The surface roughness of the material has been increased due to the effect of laser shock pulse and the nature, and micro hardness increased to 13% on the surface. Depth-wise micro hardness was investigated, found to be 17% increase in the sublayer material due to the effect of hardened matrix formed by precipitation hardening and grain size refinement attributed by laser shock peening process. Some analyses show larger grains are refined into smaller grains, that is grain size variation, and the residual stress analysis result shows compressive residual stress values have increased. This has been published in this paper. You can refer it in SAE technical paper. And this has been supported by Turbo Energy Limited for one of their products. They asked us to do effect of laser peening to improve the mechanical properties. Turbo Energy Limited produces the largest turbochargers in India for Borg-Wagner as well as BMW. And one more area, the similar laser shock peening we had extended to Maraging steel produced by laser fusing technique. This is one more new additive manufacturing process where in DMLS we do partially melting and then full melting, whereas in laser fusing full melting. Okay. So in this Maraging steel 300, 18 nickel and 300 is an iron nickel steam alloy often used in applications required high fracture toughness and strength. It maintains dimensional changes at a minimum level. Example for aircraft and aerospace industries are rocket motor castings and land gear or tooling applications has been extensively used. Current research attempts to analyze the effect of laser shock peening on laser fused material. Surface roughness of the material was found to be increased by 8% due to the effect of laser shock pulse and ablative nature which penetrates on the surface. Also, 8% increase in micro hardness on the surface. Depth-wise, micro hardness was investigated, found to be 9% increase on the sublayer of the material due to the effect of hardened martensitic matrix formed by precipitation hardening. And grain size refinement attributed by the laser shock peening. Yield and ultimate tensile strength of the laser fused material is 9%. and 12% higher than that of conventionally casted maraging steel. For comparative purpose, we had made some casted maraging steel also, and we have done the same laser fusing technique for comparative purpose. During the tensile test, crack initiation occurred nearly at 45 degree, 21% elongation, 36 mm square reduction in area. Obviously, factorographic studies ductile mode failure is noticed owing to dispersive distribution of dimples and microvoids in the microstructure in FSM images. This also been supported by Hyundai Motors. One of their employees was a student with us. So they initiated this study for their product, one of their product. And it is inferred that the laser fusing sample having a 12% increase in ultimate tensile strength and 9% increase in yield strength that can be conventionally manufactured maraging steel. Tensile strain at the failure point is significantly lowered from 21% to 14%. In fractographic analysis, maraging steel fracture observed as ductile mode of failure, crack initiated at 45 degree and propagated. Also in same image, ductile behavior of the material observed by presence of microvoids and dimples. In EDOX analysis, no foreign metals and intermetallic components available. The presence of alloying elements such as nickel, copper, titanium, and molybdenum ensures superior mechanical properties. So similarly, the same laser shock cleaning on ALSA 10mg produced by DMLS technique. Again, we come back with aluminum-based additive manufacturing using direct metal laser sintering, full melting process. Nowadays, DMLS are coming with partial melting to full melting with multiple lasers. In this paper, the influence of laser cleaning on DMLS has been addressed. Micro hardness of unpinned sample is 88.7 HV. After laser cleaning, micro hardness increased to 25.9%. The hardness tends to decrease when measured along the depthwise of laser cleaned sample at 50 microns accuracy. Surface roughness and surface morphology study shows value of additive manufactured sample is higher than conventionally manufactured sample. This is due to the effect of layer by layer manufacturing, non-uniform size of powder particle. For achieving better surface finish, higher laser power, lower scanning speed, and lower layer thickness to be selected. After laser cleaning, surface roughness increases due to the laser shock wave leads to high pressure on the surface of the material. The surface roughness values increases with increase in pulse density and powder density of the laser shock cleaning parameter. Surface roughness profile of the unpinned and pinned samples were measured. Average surface roughness RA of unpinned is 0.336, whereas the for laser pinned sample is 14.501 microns. This increase in RA value is because laser ablation formed on the metal surface due to the laser pulse and the overlapping rate between one strike to the another strike. And this also supported by CMTI Bangalore for preparing the sample, and the laser shock cleaning is conducted in our VIT University Center for Crystal Growth, supported by Dr. S. Kalainathan and his team. Optical microstructure, the cross-section DMLS ALSA 10mg sample shows the presence of crescent-shaped microstructure due to the instant melting and rapid solidification. SEM analysis shows that larger grains have been refined into micrograins after laser cleaning. In unpinned condition, the porosity is found to be high and grains are observed to be in the form of seaweed structures. The laser shock cleaning modified the mechanical properties of surface by this diffusibility of atoms, displacement of lattice planes, which is evidence from SEM and TEM analysis. And with this, I'm concluding my surface integrity part. Then, since we had some experience on manufacturing of medical applications, I'd like to give a small introduction about that. These are the two funded projects we had completed by myself and Dr. Nigel. We had developed a new approach for manufacturing of surgical implants from CT and MRI images from using layered manufacturing. That is, we have taken the diatome image from the patient-specific data, identified the boundary, both inner contour and outer contour, using segmentation process. And after removing the noise, we had constructed this 3D CAD model using two ways. One is Marching Cubes algorithm, and another one is customized the Unigraphics software. We backend of the Unigraphics software, we use a UFunk option to generate all these segmented data inside a 3D CAD model, and we fabricated some of the medical applications of the model, which has been supported by Department of Science and Technology. A typical model which extracts the point cloud data from the CT and MRI images directly transferred to a 3D printing machine for fabricating medical implants. And second topic is studies on strength and dimensional accuracy of components, where we have done beyond SLS parts. We have fabricated these samples, and we have tested, done design of experiments supported by VSSC Trivandrum and CMTA. Extensively CMTA we have used, and we have tested a lot of samples, and the report has been submitted to Department of Science and Technology. And there are other works which I have to share, not surface integrity exactly, but related to additive manufacturing. Investigation of mechanical properties and binding mechanism of metal-based SLS prototype coated with ceramics using high-velocity oxy-fuel. This is supported by Surface Engineering Laboratory from Annamalai University, and they had helped us for high-velocity oxy-fuel, and we have tested for green part SLS material fabricated using selective laser sintering process, and characterization of ALSI 10mg alloy produced with DMLS for automotive engine applications for supported by Turbo Energy Limited for tribological property studies, and implementation of reconfigurable manufacturing system in the existing CNC area. They want to introduce a DMLS process in the manufacturing of turbocharger turbine housing. This is also supported by Turbo Energy Limited. And one more topic is study of computational analysis and mechanical properties of SS316 fabricated using laser fusing technology, and investigation of tensile properties of ultrasonic plastic welded components for automotive applications, particularly using 3D printed plastic polymer parts, exclusively acrylic butadiene styrene and polycarbonate and polyamide. These are the three different materials we have used. And ultrasonic plastic welded components, we have done it using ultrasonic plastic welding machine, and we have done the tensile test, and a lot of improvements have been addressed in this paper. And one more area is surface morphological studies of metallized plastic rapid prototypes, and this is for having with the different coating parameters at 200 microns coating thickness, and then 600 microns, and then 800 and 1000. So at a different levels, what will happen, and what are the mechanical properties, how hardness is varying, and what may be the interaction between the metal and polymer, and because of these surface integrity issues, and it has been addressed that we are planning to merge, instead of having a laminar interaction between the this electroplating of polymer, metal over polymer, why not we link both copper and ABS as well as PLA with copper, like that, mixing the two different polymer and metal composites we have initiated for battery energy storage devices. It is at very entry level. We need the support from National Chemical Laboratories, and if anybody interested to join with us, we are ready to collaborate. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raja, for your presentation. Definitely very comprehensive, and it's good to hear about the breadth and depth of your work. Thank you. So at this point, we can open it up for questions. So you're welcome to type the question into the chat or unmute yourself and ask the question. Dr. Raja, I already see one question in the chat from Gaurav Ghosh.
Okay.
How do you control the interstitial defect with the help of laser peening? Can you please give some brief explanation for frequency rectification?
See, the laser peening has a laser shock wavelength that about 1 to 10 hertz. We have to control the laser shock wavelength only to have these issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Gautam is asking about what factor decides the SST time for material, and do we have any standards for it?
Actually, it is an application side. Since Rani Groups has asked for on SS316, we have initiated. Okay. Because they are using it for different environment, particularly in the power steerings. There are a lot of SS parts. In those SS parts, they had feel that a lot of heat and environmental impacts are there. For that study, they need to have a surface modification.
Okay, okay, thank you.
This is an industrial aspect. So industry has expected that is there any possibility that surface modification can improve the wear, tribological, and then hardness properties, that for that purpose it has been addressed.
Okay.
Because we are working closely with local industries because they want to include their additive manufacturing in their existing production line. For that purpose, they are expecting some more improvement on product-based applications. That's the purpose of going for surface modification, particularly on automotive and FMCG parts.
Okay.
Industry-specific problems are addressed with our alignment with our research.
Correct. Okay, so Gautam, I hope this answers your question. If you need any additional clarification, please let us know. Okay, I think Gautam is saying that, yes, sir, I am from Rane, TRW. That's why I have this question.
I hope so. I think I had addressed you.
Okay, okay, good.
Rane NSK is supporting us. Even Rane TRW also, we had fabricated electronic power steerings housings at our product design lab at Technology Business Incubation during 2005 to 2007.
Okay, okay, great.
Professor Mohammed?
Yes,
this
yes,
is Prabhu.
Yes, please, yes.
I have to ask a question. I usually ask questions.
Yes, yes,
yeah. Thank you, Professor Raja. This is Prabhu. I'm a graduate student here at Binghamton. I want to know whether there are any reliability studies, results of reliability studies, which basically provide comparison between lifetimes of these surface integrity improved components versus traditionally manufactured components. I know it might take years of study, but do you have any information about reliability studies that compare these two different types of products?
As such, we have not done. Our future work is depends on reliability studies only. Even again, Rane only come back with life cycle analysis of additive manufactured parts, both polymer as well as metal. Very recent requirement from Rane NSK. They are asking us life cycle analysis. When you modify the surface or subsurface, what type of surface service life can be improved? Okay, we need some industrial data. Without industrial data, we cannot do it. We can do fundamental research, but that cannot be related to applied research, right? But still, we are expecting some data on particular material, particular geometric shape, so that we can extensively. It's our future scope.
Okay.
Already we had initiated. Any support is there from your side, maybe it can be extended to us also. We'll also support you. At present, the industries are asking the same question. What may be the reliability and sustainability of your products? There is no standards are there for this as such. Even ASTM F42 also not formulated reliability standards and sustainability standards for additive manufacturing. At present, only process standards are there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dr. Raja, we also have a question from Dr. Chelsea Jen from Binghamton University. First, she wants to thank you for sharing your research with us. And her question is, have the proposed methods for improving the surface roughness been applied in a in situ monitoring and inspection process?
As such, we had not initiated that. It has to be done. It has to be done. Nowadays, the machines are coming. Upcoming machines only coming with in-situ monitoring. It has to be done.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. Actually,
whatever machines we had used, they don't have that facility.
Okay. Okay. Good.
It's a recent development.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Jin's research actually is related to in situ inspection, offline,
Sure.
online inspection. So maybe there is potential for collaboration there.
Yeah. It's an upcoming area.
Yes.
That's what Mr. Prabhu also asked about reliability, right? Again, in situ monitoring is very, very essential nowadays while developing these very mission critical components.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, any other questions? Again, feel free to type the question into the chat or yeah, or you can unmute yourself. You have a small enough group, so it's definitely okay to unmute yourself and ask the question. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. Anyone else? Please, again, do not hesitate to unmute yourself and ask. We still have plenty of time for questions. Okay, so if there are no questions, I'd like to take this opportunity again on behalf of Binghamton University and VIT to thank you, Professor Raja, for joining us today to share with us this news about your research. We are delighted to have you. Definitely appreciate your contribution to our webinar series.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we conclude, I would like to share with you some information about the next presentation. I will just share the screen this way you can see the abstract. Okay, so we're delighted that we will be having Dr. Daryl Santos from the System Science and Industrial Engineering Department at Binghamton University, who will be joining us next week, Thursday, the 25th. Dr. Santos will talk about addressing global manufacturing outsourcing problems using a hybrid AHP TCO model. Dr. Santos has been with our department, System Science and Industrial Engineering, since 1994. And he's currently the Vice Provost for Diversity and Inclusiveness at Binghamton University, in addition to his role as a full professor in System Science and Industrial Engineering, and as a faculty member in the Watson Institute for Systems Excellence, which is an institute of advanced studies at Binghamton University. So I hope many of you will be able to join us next week to attend Dr. Santos's presentation. Please share this with students in your classes or students in your research labs, with your scholars, other colleagues, and we hope many of you will be able to join us again next week. Okay, so once again, thank you, Dr. Raja, for joining us, and thank you to everyone for participating in the seminar. As always, we will be sharing the recording of this talk in the next few hours, so you'll be able to watch it later if you would like, and if you would like to share it with colleagues as well. Anybody with the link will be able to share the recording of this session, and hope to see many of you again next week.
Thank you, Professor Mohammed. Thanks for giving this opportunity. And once again, I thank for Dr. Vasudevan also to initiating this interaction. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Dr. Raja. So thank you so much, Professor Mohammed. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Vasudevan. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.